Hi everyone, Alicia Edgar here from Business Performance HQ. Tonight I wanted to jump on live and talk to you about some tips around working from home. So there's a few more people working from home at the moment, and it's something that I have done for a very, very long time. Actually coming up to about 15 years now, which is a long time. I'm showing my age. So I wanted to talk about some various tips that I have around how to make it easier when you work from home, particularly if you're used to working in an office environment and one, you're sort of missing the social interaction, and two, you perhaps don't have your normal resources around you as well. So let's get stuck into it. So one of the first keys to it is to actually go about your normal routine. So your normal work routine that you had when you were perhaps commuting to an office, you want to try and keep those same times. And so what that means is you need to get dressed. You need to get dressed as though you're going to work. Now, if perhaps you currently dress up quite glam, suit and tie, glam dresses and skirts and whatnot, if that's not required for you to work at home, like if you're video conferencing and whatnot and that's not required, put on some comfortable clothes, but make sure that you actually do get dressed. It's really important, because unless you are what I call a trained work at home professional, you can't wear your jammies. You just can't get into the right headspace around it. So maintain your normal work hours and make sure you are dressed. Now, you're also likely to have more time because you're not commuting, so you're not commuting to an office. So you can take advantage of that time. So you can do some chores in the morning around the house that you wouldn't normally do. So you might put a load of washing on, start prepping dinner or prepping lunch or something like that. You might actually do some sort of chore that you wouldn't normally have time to do in the morning. Now, I've got a bit of a caveat on that though. So say you put on a load of washing. Make sure you hang it out during coffee break or a mid-morning break or a lunch break. So don't just think, I'll just go about and do my chores during the day, because it's really easy to do that when you're working at home. Really easy. But what it does is it means you don't really get any productive work done at all. So try and stick to your same work hours, and if you are going to do some chores in the morning when you would normally be commuting, just make sure they're not creeping into your day as well. So one other thing, so if you normally leave your kitchen spotless when you leave for work in the morning, make sure you do that when you're working at home, because I can guarantee you that if you don't do that, your kitchen will kind of talk to you. No matter where you're sitting in your house while you're trying to get work done, your kitchen will talk to you and be telling you need to clean me. You need to be sparkling clean. So make sure you actually do that as well before you get started on your day. And you need to take breaks just like you do at work. So when you work in an office, you might often take a coffee break or make a coffee, have a bit of a chit chat. They call it meeting at the water cooler type thing. So take breaks like that. And how you can do that when you work from home, in order to have that social interaction, is, make your coffee, video conference with someone, have a chat with someone online with your colleagues and whatnot. And, that becomes your little coffee break. And you do get that social interaction as well, and you get that social fix, and then you can go back to work. You do need to put a bit of time limit on it, because otherwise you could stay there all day. And I remember back, and this actually going back over 10 years, back in 2009, when I first got on Twitter, one of the things that I did with some other people that I knew online was we had a thing called the Latte Club, and #Latte Club. And we would meet online at a certain time and actually have a coffee together and have a bit of a chat, which worked really well because we got that social interaction, even though it wasn't video. That was over 10 years ago, so it wasn't as prevalent then, but we still had that social interaction with people. So doing something like that to get some social interaction by having a coffee break and using either video conference or chatting online to get that social interaction. Now, when it comes to lunch, have probably a shorter lunch break, potentially. So if you normally go into an office and you might have, say, an hour-long lunch break with some colleagues or something like that, I actually recommend you have a shorter lunch break. And here's why. If you have an hour lunch break when you're at home, you are probably less inclined to come back and do any productive work in the afternoon, because you're at home, you're cozy, you're comfortable. You might start doing something over your lunch break. So you want to make sure that you don't do that. So have a shorter break. It's probably 30 minutes and keep it to that. So you've got time to eat, have a bit of relax, but then get back into it. Now, when it comes to having kids at home, so I'm going to start with teenagers because I now have teenagers in my house. I have to say, it doesn't really change for me. They just do what they want. They, lock themselves in the room as teenagers do and just do whatever. And so, having teenagers at home really doesn't make much difference to me, except they might actually make me coffee and things like that, or cocktails later in the evening. But they'll just go about your business. Now, if you've got younger kids, I remember back to when my girls were younger. It was important that they had structured time and time to do things. So, for instance, if you are at a point where you're dealing with younger kids at home and they would normally go to childcare or whatnot and they're not going, then do little spurts of time. So do activities or something that will entertain them relatively by themselves, perhaps with you there, that they can actually spend a block of time doing something. So, depending on how young or how old they are, 30 minutes might be the max, something like that. You might be able to get to 1 hour. But, put the rewards at the end of that so that if they're focusing on that particular task or playing that particular item or thing, then, once the time's up, then, perhaps it's snack time. Little kids always love to snack. Or, other things like that. So, give them a reward at the end, and that helps you to then have, even if it's like the small kids and they only take half an hour, you've at least got half an hour of focus time. Now, with that, if you've got an office at home, and depending on how old your kids are or who else is about and whatnot, if you're able to shut your door and work in your office, I would suggest you put on music to cut out the distracting noise, because even if you work in an office, the noise that you have in an office, it's other people talking, it's other people doing things, machines going, things like that, computers whirring, all that sort of stuff, and you're actually quite used to that noise. Whereas when you work at home and you hear the noise of your family or other exciting stuff, it makes you think, oh, I want to be going to do that. I don't want to be sitting here working. So that's why I recommend, in order to focus, that you really do, you put some music on that kind of gets you in the groove. Depending on what you're working on, it might be something upbeat, or it might be something a bit more mellow if you're working on something that requires more intense focus. But definitely use music to cut out any sort of distracting noise. Now, if you don't have an office and you're sitting at your kitchen table or propped up on your bed or whatever that might look at, use headphones. Headphones help you maintain focus. Universally they're the sign of do not disturb, particularly if you're out working somewhere. But from a perspective of when you are yourself working at home and you've got outer distractions that you can't block off, headphones and some music can really help a lot to do that. Now, if you are struggling to settle down and focus on the task at hand, and I'm assuming you're working on a laptop, move somewhere else in the house. Move outside, sit outside and work. Move to your couch, maybe you prop yourself up on your bed. Somewhere else, if you're not being able to focus on the task, move somewhere else in the house. Now, I can guarantee you that one of those will work for you. Sometimes you actually just need to change your environment. Even if it's just another room, in order to settle and focus on something. Now, one of the other things I would suggest, if possible, like if you don't have younger kids in the house, that you actually do 90-minute spurts. 90-minute spurts allows you to accomplish a lot. But here's the key to it. You've got to turn off all of your social on your browsers. You've got to put your phone in a drawer or hide it in some way, shape or form. Make it silent if it's got notifications dinging at you. And then put some focus music on and get to it. And you would be surprised what you can achieve in a 90-minute block. It's quite amazing what you can achieve. Now, I just might check in and see if anyone's got any questions. Let's see. Don't think so. I'm either very thorough or no one can think any at this point in time. So I just wanted to jump on tonight and give those work at home tips. As I say, I've been doing it for many years. I can actually focus anywhere, and it's interesting. I learned to focus when I was working full time and studying part time. And in my lunch breaks, I would go to cafes, put headphones on, and study. And back then, I'm ashamed to admit, it was all written material. It was folders, textbooks and things. So it was a long time ago. But that is where I learned to really focus and to cut out noise and things like that. And so that's where, my number one tip, no matter where you are, even if you're in the office and you want to get something done, headphones. It's like the universal do not disturb. It really is. So I highly recommend it. Now, one thing I decided to do for the next couple of weeks is offer strategy sessions, and just one-off strategy sessions, because normally I offer month-long coaching programs, or I'm building funnels for people, and it's quite complex, and there's funnels and there's Facebook ads management and the whole shebang, or I've got courses that I launch. So I thought, with what's going on, people are sometimes looking for other ideas on how they can take their business online, how they can take what they're doing now and rethink it if perhaps demand has dropped off or things like that. So what I decided to do was offer one-off strategy sessions, and I'll put the details in the comment section once I post it. But basically, it's you and me having a strategy session, an hour and a half, whatever it looks like, or whatever it takes to sort of get to the outcome that you're looking for. But it's you and me, and me having discussions with you and asking you questions to help you solve whatever problem that you might be encountering right now. So I'll put the details for that in the comments section. But please reach out if you've got any questions. If you've got any more work at home questions, by all means, add a comment down below if you're watching this replay later. And if you've got any tips that I haven't suggested, by all means put those there as well, because I always love learning new little tips about doing things. But anyway, look, have a great evening. I hope these tips helped, and I look forward to seeing you soon.